She ran out the back door, barefoot, bleeding, screaming. But no one came. Nobody heard her. She tripped in the grass, tried to crawl, but it was too late. He was right behind her. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. This happened in Anderson County, South Carolina. Just this year, 2025, Nicole Ballew Callaham was a wife, a mother. She had no idea the person she trusted most was about to destroy everything. Police say she was trying to leave. She had made up her mind. She wasn't going to take the abuse anymore. But leaving is the most dangerous time. And when she tried to escape, he turned violent. He followed her, trapped her, and what happened next shocked the whole town. This was not some stranger in the dark. 80% of abuse cases come from someone the victim already knows. 1 in 3 women will be attacked in their lifetime. Nicole didn't make it, but maybe, just maybe, you can. We added a women's self-defense course in the description and first pinned comment. It was made by real police and martial arts experts. It teaches you how to break free, escape bigger attackers, and stay calm under pressure. You don't need a gym, just 60 minutes. It could save your life. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who did it, why no one stopped him, and the one warning sign that everyone missed. Let's get into the full story. Nicole was born and raised in South Carolina. She was funny, loud in a good way, loved to sing even when she was off-key, worked in healthcare for a while. She helped people even when she needed help herself. She had 2 kids. People say she loved being a mom more than anything. But her life wasn't easy. She had been with her husband, James Callaham, for years. And everybody close to her knew it wasn't a safe marriage. Nicole didn't always say much, but she showed it. The bruises, the silence, the way she flinched when someone raised their voice too fast. She stayed like a lot of women do, not because she was weak, but because she thought she could fix it. Or maybe she was just too tired to run. But in early 2025, something shifted. She finally told friends, "I'm leaving. I'm done. I can't take this anymore." And that's when things got worse. It was the evening of February 8th, 2025. Anderson County, a small town kind of place. You know the kind, quiet streets, family porches, kids on bikes. The kind of place you don't expect a horror story. It was cold that night. Sky was cloudy. No moonlight. Nicole had come home from work, tired, still in scrubs. She had been planning to pack a few things and leave. She had already talked to a friend. She had a plan. She wasn't going to tell James where she was going. But James, he knew something was up. Police believe they started fighting around 6 p.m. Neighbors heard yelling. Something loud hit a wall. Then silence. Then screaming. What happened inside that house? Only 2 people know, and one of them is dead. Nicole tried to run, barefoot in the cold. She made it out the back door, but James followed. He caught her near the backyard. She was just feet away from the neighbor's fence, and that's where she collapsed. The 911 call came in at 6:15 p.m. Someone said a woman was lying in the grass, not moving, not breathing. When police arrived, they found Nicole face down, bruises on her face, blood on her hands, and no pulse. They tried CPR. They tried everything, but it was too late. She was pronounced dead at the scene. James was still there, sitting on the back steps like nothing happened. Police said he looked dazed, like he couldn't believe it either. He said, "She just ran. I don't know why she ran." But the bruises told a different story. Nicole didn't just fall. She didn't just run and drop. She was beaten. The autopsy later showed blunt force trauma to the head, broken ribs, and signs of old injuries. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 2021, 1 in 3 women globally will experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Nicole was one of them. She didn't make it to safety. She tried, but she didn't get far enough. James Callaham was arrested on the spot, charged with murder. No bail. He didn't say much to the cops. Just kept saying, "She made me angry." That's all it took. A man got angry, and a woman lost her life. We added a real women's self-defense course in the description and pinned comment. It's made by law enforcement and martial arts experts. 1 hour that shows you how to fight back, break free, and stay calm under pressure. No gym, no experience, just survival. Nicole didn't get that chance. But maybe you can. And the sad part is, she was almost free. She had her bags packed. She had friends waiting to help. She was ready to start over. But sometimes the most dangerous moment is the one where you finally say, I'm done. That's the moment some abusers snap. Her family is still grieving. They say they're speaking out because they don't want Nicole to be just another headline. They want people to know the signs, to leave safely, to take it seriously. Her 2 children are now staying with relatives. Too young to understand why their mom's not coming back. Too young to know their dad is the reason. Nicole's sister showed up the next day. She didn't know yet. She was just coming by to help Nicole pack. But when she saw all the police tape, her knees buckled. She said, "Don't tell me. Please don't tell me it's her." The officer didn't have to say a word. Her face told it all. And that was the moment the nightmare became real. Nicole had been trying to leave quietly. No drama. No noise. She didn't want to make him snap. She thought if she stayed calm, packed slow, and smiled through it, she could slip out and disappear. But the truth is, some people don't let go. They don't care about quiet. They don't care about peace. They just care about control. James wasn't going to let her walk out that door. He had been watching her more closely, checking her phone, following her to work. He knew something was coming. The Friday before she died, Nicole asked a coworker, "What would you do if you knew someone was going to hurt you, but you couldn't leave right away?" The coworker said she looked tired. Not just tired like sleepy, tired like her spirit was worn out. The investigators searched the house. There was blood on the hallway wall. The kitchen table was flipped. Her phone was shattered on the floor. They found an overnight bag by the door. Half-packed, just a few clothes, a toothbrush, some baby pictures. She had planned to leave that night. They also found her journal, tucked under the bed in a shoebox. Inside it, she had written, "If anything happens to me, it's James. I want people to know that." That was written just 6 days before she died. At the station, James said they argued like normal. But when asked about the bruises, he shut down. He kept saying, "I didn't mean to. She just made me so mad." That's not an excuse. That's a confession. They charged him with homicide and domestic violence of a high and aggravated nature. But the story doesn't stop there. Nicole's death wasn't just one bad night. It was the end of years of fear, years of staying quiet, years of hiding what was really going on inside that house. Friends later told police she used to wear long sleeves in summer. She didn't like to go out anymore. She flinched when someone raised a hand, even if it was just to wave. And every time she spoke about James, she'd start by saying, "He's not all bad." In the weeks that followed, people started to speak up. Neighbors, co-workers, even her hairdresser. They said they knew something wasn't right. They just didn't know how bad it was. One neighbor said, "I used to hear them yelling, but then it would stop. I figure maybe they made up." That's the thing. We think silence means it's over. But sometimes silence is just the part where the victim gives up trying to fight back. Nicole had tried to leave before. Back in 2021, she went to stay with her mom for 2 weeks. But James begged her to come home. Said he'd change. Said he'd start counseling. Said he'd be better. And he was for a little while. Flowers, dinner, apologies. Then slowly it came back. The shouting, the threats, the hands. By 2024, Nicole had stopped telling anyone what was going on. She was scared people were tired of hearing it. Scared they'd judge her for staying. And that's how abusers win. They isolate. They shame. They twist the story until the victim feels like they're the problem. After Nicole died, her sister made a Facebook post. It went viral. She wrote, "She didn't deserve this. She tried to leave. She asked for help. And now we're planning a funeral instead of a future." Thousands of people shared it. Women wrote back saying they were in the same place. Trying to leave. Try to live. Scared they might be next. At James' bond hearing, the courtroom was packed. Nicole's family sat in the front row. Her sister held up a picture of Nicole, smiling with her kids. A judge denied bond. Said James was a danger to the community. He sat there, in that orange jumpsuit, eyes empty. No tears. No words. Nothing. Like Nicole's life didn't even register in his face. But for the people who loved her, that loss hit like a truck. The kids ask for her every day. The youngest still thinks she's at work. And what do you say to that? How do you explain to a child, that the person who was supposed to protect them took their mother away. The trial began 5 months after Nicole's death, and even before opening arguments, the courtroom was already divided. On one side, Nicole's people, family, friends. On the other, James's few supporters, folks who still said he was under stress or she pushed his buttons. But this wasn't about stress. This was about power, and what happens when a man decides a woman's life belongs to him. The prosecutor opened with Nicole's journal. They read her words out loud. "If anything happens to me, it's James." Then came the photos. Bruises, finger marks, blood on the kitchen floor. One juror had to turn away. The defense tried to say it was an accident. Said Nicole tripped running outside. Said James panicked. Said he just snapped after years of arguing. But the evidence didn't lie. Her injuries were deep. Multiple impacts. Defensive wounds on her hands and arms. That wasn't a fall. That was a fight for her life. The neighbor testified next. She said she heard Nicole scream 3 times. The last one was cut off. Another witness was Nicole's co-worker. She told the jury that Nicole had made a plan to leave, that she had already found a safe place to go. She said Nicole was afraid, but she was brave. She wanted out. Then came the doctor who performed the autopsy. He explained each injury, pointed to diagrams, said it would have taken more than one blow, more than just falling. Nicole had tried to crawl away. James never took the stand, not once. He sat still, silent, barely moved. No emotion, no apology. When a verdict came in, the courtroom held its breath. Guilty of murder, of domestic violence, of taking away a mother from her children. Nicole's sister cried so hard she couldn't stand up. Her brother yelled, "Thank you, Jesus." Even the judge paused to wipe her eyes. James was sentenced to life in prison. No chance of parole, but no sentence can bring Nicole back. No jail cell can erase what those kids lost. After the trial, something unexpected happened. Nicole's sister launched a foundation in her name, the Nicole Callaham Project. It helps women escape abusive homes. They raise money for hotel rooms, transportation, even burner phones. It's small, but it's real, because sometimes the thing that saves a woman's life is a safe place to go tonight. They hold meetings every month, teach women how to make safety plans, how to leave quietly, how to hide their tracks online. It's the kind of thing Nicole would have loved. She always helped people. Now her name still does. There was also a candlelight vigil. Over 200 people showed up. Friends, nurses, neighbors. Some didn't even know Nicole, but they had lived a version of her story. They stood in the cold, holding candles and photos, saying her name out loud, so she wouldn't be forgotten. A preacher said, Nicole didn't die because she was weak. She died because he was dangerous. And that's the truth. A month later, Nicole's oldest daughter asked, "Why didn't Mommy fight harder?" And that broke everyone in the room. Because the truth is, she did fight. With every breath, every step, she ran, she screamed, she tried. But sometimes, the people we run from are the ones who know how to break us best. That's why we added a real self-defense course. In the video description and first pinned comment, it's made by law enforcement and martial arts experts. It teaches you how to escape, how to fight, how to survive. It's not about being strong. It's about being ready. Because Nicole's story is not rare. It's common. It's everywhere. Anderson County is back to quiet now. The house is still there, empty for sale. Some folks drive by it slower now. Some cross the street to avoid it. But the story still whispers in that neighborhood. In the backyard where she fell. In the silence after the sirens left. Because trauma doesn't leave when the police do. It lingers. It stays in the walls, in the air, in the people left behind. It's been months now, but Nicole's name is still being spoken. Not in whispers, not behind closed doors. Loud, public, bold. Her story is being told at shelters, at schools, at women's centers all over South Carolina. Because Nicole's sister made a choice. If her pain had to be this deep, then the world was going to learn from it. They made a video from her journal. Just her words, read by her best friend, played over photos of her laughing, dancing, holding her kids. It aired at a conference for domestic violence prevention. One survivor in the audience stood up after and said, "She saved me. I left because of her." That's the part the news doesn't show. That ripple, that quiet power, the way one life, even when cut short, can still reach out and pull someone else from the edge. Nicole's oldest daughter started seeing a grief counselor. She's 12, and she writes poems now. One of them said, "My mommy was soft like a blanket, but strong like a lion. You try to break her, but she's still mine." She reads that one to her little brother at bedtime. James's name barely gets said anymore. No one visits his cell. His old friends disappeared. Even his own cousins turn away. Not because they hate him, but because they can't explain him. Can't understand how love can turn into violence. How someone could look into the eyes of the person they married and still do something like that. One of the detectives who worked the case said he still keeps Nicole's photo in his desk drawer. Said it reminds him why he became a cop. He said, "We didn't get there in time, but we'll be faster next time." A local group in Anderson County started something new. They call it the Nicole Bag. It's a small backpack stuffed with basic things: phone charger, cash, toothbrush, prepaid phone, list of shelters. They keep them in clinics, churches, even gas stations. No questions asked. If you need one, you take one. Walk in with nothing, walk out with a plan. They've handed out over 70 so far. Here's something most people don't know. Nicole had this laugh. It started small, almost like a cough. Then it rolled out of her like thunder. She laughed with her whole chest. Didn't matter if it was a dumb joke or a TV show she'd seen 10 times. When she laughed, the room lit up. That's what her cousin says she misses most. Not the big stuff, just that sound. In one of Nicole's last texts to her friend, she wrote, "I'm scared, but I'm ready. I want to live for my kids. I want to start fresh." She never got that chance, but she left something behind. Proof that even in fear, even while trapped, she still had hope. This story hurts. It should, because it's not fiction. It's not a movie. This was real. This was her life. And it could be someone you know, someone you work with, your cousin, your neighbor, your sister. In the U.S., 1 in 4 women will experience severe intimate partner violence. Source, CDC, 2022. And most of them won't report it, won't call the police, won't tell their families, because they think no one will believe them. Or worse, because they think no one will help. That's why we keep telling stories like Nicole's. To remind people, you're not alone. You can leave. You can survive. And if you're watching this right now and feel a chill, like we just described your life, listen, there's help. There's a way out. We linked a free self-defense course in the description and pinned comment. It's made by real experts. Shows how to escape, how to breathe through panic, how to fight for your life. It doesn't make you invincible, but it might give you time. And sometimes time is everything. Nicole's kids are still growing, still healing, still waking up in a world that feels different now. They live with Nicole's sister, go to school, play soccer, have birthdays. Life didn't stop. It just changed shape. A year after Nicole's death, they held a memorial walk. It started in front of her old house, the one where she ran for her life, and ended at the courthouse where her killer was sentenced. They called it Nicole's Last Steps. Over 300 people showed up, all ages. Some wore purple, the color for domestic violence awareness. Others carried signs that said things like, "We walk for Nicole. Love shouldn't hurt. No more silence." It was quiet, no speeches, just footsteps, one in front of the other. Her kids didn't walk that day. They watched from the sidewalk. Her daughter held a photo of Nicole. Her son gripped a teddy bear. They didn't cry. They just watched. And in their silence, you could feel the weight. This wasn't just about their mom. This was about the future. What kind of world would they grow up in? One that pretends these things don't happen? Or one that says enough is enough? Later that year, Nicole's sister got invited to speak at a college. She was nervous, said she wasn't a public speaker. But when she stood at that podium, she didn't read a script. She held up Nicole's old journal, opened it, and said, "My sister wrote this to protect herself. Now I read it to protect you. If you're in danger, I want you to hear me. You don't owe anyone your silence." That room got so quiet, you could hear people breathing. Since then, 3 women who heard her speak went straight to the campus counselor. All 3 got out of bad situations. That's how real change happens. One person, one truth, one voice. Let's be honest. Nicole didn't ask to be remembered like this. She didn't want to be a case, a hashtag, a story told by strangers on the internet. She just wanted peace. She wanted to be a good mom, to laugh, to breathe, and she was so close. But now, her life stands for something bigger. It's a warning, a light, a name people remember when they see the signs. There's a mural in Anderson now, painted on the side of an old community center. It's Nicole's face, smiling, strong. Beside it, in bold letters, it says, "She tried to leave. Remember her name." Kids pass it on their way to school. Mothers see it when they get groceries. And maybe, just maybe, someone sees it right before they make their own escape. I can't tell you this story has a happy ending, because it doesn't. A woman died. 2 kids lost their mom. A family was shattered. But I can tell you this. Her story saved lives. And it's still saving lives. Not because she was perfect, but because she was human. Because she was real. Because she deserved more. And so does every woman like her. If you've stayed with us this far, thank you. Not for the views, not for the clicks, but because listening matters. Telling the truth matters. Saying her name matters. This story wasn't about fear. It was about preparation, awareness, and love. Because love, real love, doesn't hurt. It doesn't leave bruises. It doesn't make you run barefoot in the night. Nicole Ballew Callaham, born in South Carolina. Mother, sister, fighter, taken too soon, but not forgotten. And our next story? It started when a little boy didn't show up to class. The teacher thought he was sick, but what they found in the woods said otherwise. Stay tuned, because the truth is always stranger than fiction.